runs in the first session of day 3 in the first test at Leeds. The same plot continued. Luckily, this time there was a bit of support for Bumrah. Prasidh dismissing Ollie Pope in very quick time when you look at it on day 3.
Even AP Dillon, he also took a wicket.
AP Dillon, apart from his singing, he had a decentish spell. But yes, he got Ben Stokes out. But ever since then, yet again, India have allowed the game to drift. With Harry Brook scoring a 50, Jamie Smith looking decent. Brook getting a life with Rishabh Pant dropping a catch.
Did I hear that thing yesterday also? Brook getting a life. That was, I think, by Jasprit Bumrah.
Yes.
Multiple lifelines to a batter, and he is making India pay.
And Jamie Smith has looked solid, not too hustled. Yes, he did survive one LBW appeal that Shardul Thakur, he danced down the track. Shardul got a delivery to come back in, but it was going down leg side. And that is why 144 runs England still trail by. But remember, India have always struggled to bowl the tail out. And that is why if India don't get a lead of over 100, then I think the advantage is still 50-50. You're now looking at a match that could very well be drawn. All 4 results are still possible. India win, England win, draw, tie, match drawn with scores level 5 results possible.
What do you think? You think it's going to be drawn?
This is a featherbed of a wicket. You look at it, what has been the session which has given you the maximum number of wickets?
But this is also the session which has seen the maximum amount of turn. Look at the way Jadeja was bowling, and it wasn't really the odd ball that was turning away or into the batter. I think this is actually changing a bit. Maybe not too much, but
not
slightly.
Too much. It's too slow.
Yeah.
The deterioration is too slow. And that is why I think, you've now got 8 sessions remaining in this test match. Okay. Assuming England bat for one more session and they lose over 3 wickets more, you will see another session in which England will frustrate India, and then India will have to bat minimum 3 sessions to get a good score here. Okay. And you have to keep England for 3.5 to 4 sessions to get a result. But this pitch, looking at the bounce, it's very low bounce. It's not working. You're not getting that much of carry also. It's not uneven bounce where you can get that kind of help. So I have a feeling that this test match has been played on a very flat deck. You are creating chances, but the Indian bowlers, look at it. After Prasidh got that wicket, they let it drift. Bumrah tried. He also beat the bat couple of occasions, but towards the lunch break also, he was also struggling. And again, only 3 more overs for Shardul Thakur. And he conceded 15 runs instead of 23 runs. So it's a strange session, what I would say. England have ensured that they have not fallen behind. But yes, Ollie Pope would be kicking himself. Why did he have to go after that shot? And Ben Stokes, he struggled a bit, didn't look his usual self. But yeah, 57 and 29 from Harry Brook and Jamie Smith have ensured that, they are not too far behind in the test match.
I think from India's perspective, once again, the case of lackluster bowling has actually continued. You see, there is once again no support for Bumrah. I still remember what we discussed last night. All Jasprit Bumrah needs is some help, some more assistance, some more stepping up to the plate thing by the other bowlers, and that hasn't really been the case. I think if there's anyone who has actually looked the most threatening of the Indian bowlers to get those wickets, it is none other than Jasprit Bumrah here. Once again, although he hasn't really been able to pick a wicket in this session, but then overall, he has looked the part. You talk about the other bowlers, Siraj, once again, he looked pretty inconsistent, and that's one word that we actually associate with Siraj now for quite a while. Prasidh Krishna has also looked pretty inconsistent. Jadeja getting the odd ball to turn, but overall, I think India clearly lacking those wicket-taking options, and more importantly, what's really not going India's case is that they have been dropping those catches. Rishabh Pant not taking the catch of Harry Brook here. Even Ollie Pope was dropped last night by Yashasvi Jaiswal. Jadeja dropped Ben Duckett. So things are not really working for India in the fielding perspective, and that's one area that this Indian team really had a lot of faith in, or maybe they actually they were those proud fielders going back to the Virat Kohli era. But this time around under Shubman Gill, things haven't really gone perfectly well. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the case of it couldn't really be lack of practice, but maybe it's some nerves that these Indian players are having. But at this stage, you cannot really be dropping those dollies. You talk about a couple of catches maybe involving Jaiswal, and I think who was the fielder when Jamie Smith was involved in that catch? I cannot remember.
Sai Sudarshan.
Yeah, Sai Sudarshan. Those chances are still pretty tough to take. But if we talk about the other catches, they should have really been taken. And 327 for 5, just trailing by 144. Who do you really blame here? And that's the question that I pose to you. Is it really going to be the bowling that needs to be blamed here, or is it really the poor shot selection that's going to go back to day 2 now? Shubman Gill, Shardul Thakur, Karun Nair.
3 aspects. Aspect number 1, which has let you down big way. I'll give it in the order which is like hurting you the most. Fielding. You dropped 4 catches. It could very well have been 270 for 9. Who knows? 4 catches out of that, 2 okay when you look at it, Jaiswal but Jadeja's drop. Duckett, 62 runs, he's helped you. Brook getting dropped, but okay, he's gone on to make a 50. It may not be all that costly yet. First session, you always see. Today, look at the trend of wickets that has fallen.
I think if let's say, you're saying, Brook 57 may not be costly. See, he was about to be out on 0.
Yes.
And if let's say, he would have been dismissed yesterday, the scoreline could really have been 300 odd for 7 or 8.
300 all out, maybe, yeah. See, Brook, that no ball was more costly than the catch. The catch so far has not proven to be costly, but then that no ball by Bumrah. Imagine your spearhead overstepping in the final over of the day. England at 209 for 4 would have been fretting a lot more. But then you gave him that lifeline. Here, you've given him the lifeline yet again with that drop. Sai Sudarshan, I mean, if you're at short leg, many people argue your reflexes have to be that good to take the catch. So catching has really let you down. And that will be the one factor if India don't go on to win leads. That will be the one factor which will hurt you. You dropped so many catches. Second, factor number 2, again, the inconsistent support for Bumrah. There is support, but it's only coming in few, like if you're in a dark road, suddenly you get a firefly of a light, some light of hope, okay, there is some light ahead. It is like that. Siraj, yet again, Prasidh, yet again, got the wickets. Agreed. Siraj, prior to setting up Ben Stokes, he had bowled a decentish line. He was doing well. But it is not consistent enough. Prasidh also not that consistent enough. And the batters are milking Jadeja, which is why I'm saying your spin is there. But it is, if you hit that particular patch, that is only when it is gripping and turning. But apart from that, the pitch isn't deteriorating that much. Plus, it was sunny today also. First session was sunny. It's hot. So that is why factor number 2, again, that lack of support. Factor number 3, when you look at it, which might hurt you later on if England win this game, is that shot selection. 7 of 41. So after 2 layers, you're going to see the third layer that will impact you in that sense.
Which is that one factor you think has actually hurt India the most, apart from all these? I think even I kind of agree with this, because if we have to really, balance all these things, let's say put them on the same pedestal and see which has really hurt you the most, whether it's the batting collapse or the inconsistent support for Bumrah or the catches. I think it's the catches only, because you talk about the batters, even 471, it does look like a pretty potent total in Test cricket, and specifically in England conditions, irrespective of where you are playing. In bowling, I think that can really be a factor, because Mohammad Siraj is not a newcomer now. He is the spearhead of this Indian attack when Bumrah is not playing, and his role should not really be just that of a supporting bowler. He has to get those wickets, because Bumrah alone cannot really get the job done. It is just too much to do for him. can still argue the case of Prasidh Krishna that it's still fresh legs in Test cricket, but then he also has that plethora of experience of playing domestic cricket, domestic red ball cricket. I think that hasn't really helped. Catching is one thing that you always go back to, that MS Dhoni quote. In batting, you can be out the first ball, it can be a Jaffa. In bowling, you can still have a bad day. But catching is one thing, or fielding is one thing that is clearly in your hands. You know that if you can try to be as perfect as you can in whatever drills that you do, and make sure that you don't drop those catches in a crucial match. And that's what India have clearly done. And that's got obviously nothing to do with Shubman Gill's captaincy. Because whatever be the result of this match, or let's say assume India are not really on the winning end in this case, I don't think it should be Shubman Gill's captaincy that should be questioned, because he's not the one who is taking catches for the fielders. It's just up to the players who are not really making the most of the chances.
No, today, credit to Shubman. The field setting that he had for most of the time was spot on. He ensured that long on and long off would be covered. I mean, that straight drive, he cut it off. Cover drive, he cut it off. He had a fielder there. He had fielders in the deep to ensure that he wouldn't get the boundaries. Because what does England's batting approach rely on? More boundaries. But then he was let down by his own fielders. Because you didn't catch well. Yesterday you dropped 3. You dropped 3 catches. Today you have dropped 2 catches. Plus your no ball at that crucial moment. Last over of the day. It could have sent such a big message that, okay, we are here to play on our terms, not on your terms, in your home ground. You squandered that. So today his captaincy, when you look at the field placement, okay, how many overs were bowled? A total of 28 overs were bowled. 118 runs were scored, which is over 4, just about 4.2 per over. But then catching. Pant dropping a catch. I mean, we were all critical of Jamie Smith dropping Rishabh Pant, right? Stumping. That stumping chance he missed. It hurt England 30 runs more. But today, Harry Brook gone, and then you're into the tail, bit of a lower middle order tail when you get Chris Woakes can wield the willow. He's good with the bat. Cars can do it. Tongue can also hit some lusty blows. You need to take everything that is coming your way. Yesterday also I made the point. Your pace bowling lineup is reliant only on Bumrah. Whatever comes your way, by any stretch of the imagination, you have to take those chances. But you didn't take it. That's why you have allowed England to come to 327 for 5. And if they hit another 100 runs more, even if there is a India lead by 10 runs, 20 runs, 30 runs, 50 runs will give them a slight edge. But if it is less than 50 runs, it is still, it's a stalemate. No team has gained, no team has lost. That is how I look at this Leeds thing, and this pitch won't deteriorate quickly. England pitches are not known to deteriorate that quickly in the past. It needs some sensational bowling to ensure a collapse is done. It needs bad shot selection, which is why if England win, then catches or 7 for 41. That will be the debate. What hurt you the most?
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. I think one of the things that really worked out for England today in the first session was Harry Brook. He made the most of the chance that he got last night. Today also he got dropped once, but 57 coming in at a time when you know that you had lost Joe Root. Oli Pope also departed, very early today. Ben Stokes could not really make the most of the chance. So you know that your lower order is short on experience. There is Jamie Smith. Chris Woakes is the only one who has considerable experience. Then it's going to be Bryden Cast. So all eyes would actually be on Harry Brook, and once again he has stepped up to the plate. We talk about Harry Brook being a condition-specific batter, scored most of his hundreds in England, New Zealand and Pakistan, but now, irrespective of the conditions, he's coming good against a team that has someone like Jasprit Bumrah and also the other bowlers who may not be doing well in this match but have considerable experience.
I mean, credit to him, he's capitalized on his luck. He does average in excess of 50. I mean, close to 60. I think his average is close to 60, if I'm not mistaken, Harry Brook. We can check that out. But then I think, I just saw the graphic. Maybe it is 59.79, if I'm not mistaken.
The Steve Smith.
Yeah, but in 2.
Yeah, almost 60.
Yeah, almost 60. So that is why Harry Brook, if I have to look at it, see, that tag will remain condition specific, because he has to do well in 2 countries. to prove that he's not a condition-specific player. He has to do well in India. He has to do well in Australia. India in India, Australia in Australia. Now he's getting a chance in November, December, when England go there for the Ashes. Harry Brook, that tag of being a condition-specific player won't go away if he doesn't do well in the Ashes. If he doesn't do well in the Ashes, then it's certified. He needs only flat decks to flourish on. Which is why I'm saying this is a flat deck. Headingley is not the old Headingley of the past. England pitches have undergone a change ever since 2022. So that is why I am looking at this particular scenario that, yep, the pitch won't deteriorate quickly. England batters, you look at the trend. India's best option is in the next 1 hour. Because you look at it, Pope fell in the first hour. Stokes fell after the drinks break was taken and then you had a break in concentration. So that is how the trend has been on day 2. But again, day 3, sorry. But you look at the wicket flow. Day 2, first sessions, I think you only taken 2 wickets. Second session, day 1, you didn't have any wickets. Day 3, third session, day 1, you had 1 wicket. Day 2, you had a cluster of wickets in the second session. But in third session, you just had 3. Here, same 2 wickets. I mean, this is not how a deteriorating pitch behaves. And that's why England will be glad that Harry Brook stepped up. Because remember, he withdrew from the IPL. He won't be back now for 2 years there. So he has to make it count. If he doesn't make it count here, his move to withdraw from the IPL also would be deemed foolish. And the criticism and the brickbats will continue for him. So, 57 of 77 at a strike rate of 75, typical Harry Brook, which is why I'm saying this pitch is flat. Let's see if he's dished out a green top, how will he go about it? So, let's see how that pans out.
But I think now we just, about maybe 15-20 minutes before the resumption of the second session here. Like, if you are Shubman Gill, what's the one thing that you would do at the beginning of the session? Like, who would be the 2 bowlers that you would begin the session with?
I would definitely begin with Bumrah and Shardul. Because Shardul created an opportunity at least. He's getting some swing, okay, but yeah, it's not that potent of a swing. He's getting some in-swing in that sense. Bumrah, again, you're bowled 19 overs of Jasprit Bumrah. Another 5 over burst, 5-6 over burst. But how much will you bowl a Jasprit Bumrah? Which is why my main fear, you were wanting Australia played in those wickets there to cook Jasprit Bumrah, right? The workload management thing came up and he couldn't play on the spiciest wicket of them all in Sydney. Here, on a feather bed, you've already given Bumrah 20 plus overs. He, depending on the nature of the game, I don't think he will rest Lords. He has to play Lords. Can he rest in the third test if it's helpful conditions? But if England are ahead, what do? Can you afford to rest Bumrah for 1 or 2 tests? He has said that they are playing only 3-4 tests for him. But if India are down, they will need a Bumrah. Which is why I think England also have dished out the conditions to cook Bumrah. Because he is going to have a workload of 25 overs. And if it's still 5 down, he's having more than that. How do you manage him? But if I need wickets, I have to get Bumrah. Yeah. If I have to get support from the other end, this is the problem. See, Prasidh, Siraj, they have gotten wickets luckily today. But look at Prasidh's economy, 5.7. Look at Siraj's economy.
No maidens whatsoever.
No maidens, absolutely no maidens. 33 overs combined, they have conceded 153 runs, meaning close to 5 runs an over. What do you do then? I will go with Shardul and Bumrah, and then I will get a Jadeja and a Mohammad Siraj. Prasidh is my other option because it's not working for Prasidh here. That one shot, that was a waft which Ollie Pope played at the start of the day. But Bumrah and Shardul have to start.
Okay. I'm going to go with one, it's going to be Bumrah for sure. I think if you are really keeping that 25 to be the...
Okay, by the way, just to add to that, 3 overs are left for the second new ball. So
Yeah.
you may begin with a Jadeja and a Prasidh. Okay. And then I'm giving the new ball to
Bumrah
and
for about
Siraj.
a 3-over burst.
Bumrah and Siraj,
Yeah,
yeah. Because 3 overs are left for the second new ball to come.
And that's where even I also, I think, missed the trick in this case. I think for the first 3 overs, better to go with, I think, Jadeja and Prasidh Krishna. And then, once, you have reached the mark, the 80 over mark, better to go with Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj. 2 of your best bowlers of the attack, 2 of your spearheads in that case. Best chance for India to get those crucial wickets. Harry Brook against the moving ball, he has always been found wanting. Even in case of Jamie Smith, who is still pretty new to the test arena, I think he's probably going to be tested by Bumrah and Siraj there. So I think for me, 2 of India's new ball bowlers to share the new ball once again here, once the 80 over mark is breached.
Yep. So that is why I think, 3 overs, they'll just bowl it out and then Bumrah will come with the new ball along with Mohammad Siraj. That will be the key, and that is where I think the one opening that India will want is in that.
Yeah.
You will go for some runs, but I think you will get wickets also in that sense. So, it's going to be a very crucial thing. That second new ball will be very, very important in that sense. So, it's going to be very, very interesting. And let's take some comments at this point. Jeevan Krishna is asking, how many wickets Shardul took, and also his economy is around 6. Nitish, at least a better batter than Shardul.
Too early to jump to conclusions. There's still a second innings leg left. There are still, 5 more wickets remaining. England can still not take the lead here, and it could very well be Shardul Thakur who takes maybe 2 or 3 wickets going on. I think it's very easy to jump to conclusions, because in Border Gavaskar Trophy, we were saying that Nitish Reddy is a good batter. We're not utilizing him more as a bowler. Now, Shardul Thakur, just to make sure that you get those 20 wickets, you have played him. Yes, he hasn't really been given that long spells, someone like in the case of Bumrah, Prasidh and Siraj, but then you still cannot keep him out of the match. He is a man with the golden arm. There's still a second innings to go. There could be more workload for Shardul Thakur.
Yep, indeed. So Priyanshu is saying the match hangs in the balance. Bumrah's spell with new ball holds the key. That's what. See, even now, if you get, but if the deficit goes to under 100 and if it is just above 75, India still hold the advantage. Over 75 and 100, India still have the advantage. But if it's less than 75 and if it is somewhere near 50, it's just about parity. Less than 50, absolutely, it's on par. No team has gained, no team has lost in that sense. But then, that second new ball burst in 3 overs is going to be absolutely key in that sense. Freaking awesome is saying, if England manage to bat till the end of today, this test will head towards a draw.
I would actually be bold enough to say one thing, that if England managed to bat till the end of the day, then India could be on the losing end.
Could happen, but then see, they are 144 runs ahead. Plus, if you want to take a lead, they have to hit 100 more. They need 244. So that is why, with this new ball thing, it won't be easy. But the problem is, and that is what I am just saying, the weather in Leeds is a bit more warmer than normal this year, and the moisture has gone quickly. Hardly any swing after the first session. There wasn't any swing at all. And that is why, even if you look, but then again, wicket moisture, when you look at it, you may not have to rely on that overhead conditions. If it's sunny, then I think you may get little less swing in that sense also. So,
Yeah. Pawan, let's go up. There was a comment by, I think, Jeevan Krishna has a comment. Drop Shardul, Sudarshan, Nair, bring Nitish, Ishwaran and Arshdeep again. I think it's just
it's a typical knee-jerk reaction that we do.
One innings, they could very well do well. In the second innings, I think that's very, very harsh.
Exactly. So, just go up a bit. There's one more comment that's up. Okay, Abhishek Sables, if you can't pick wickets, stop runs, you are giving 100 plus runs every session.
That's going to happen on this kind of a track. It is a belter of a pitch, hardly any help for the bowlers. Maybe, there could be some help for spinners going forward. Jadeja did manage to, have some turn on a few deliveries. But I think apart from that, not really great.
Yashwant is saying, criticizing Harry for flat wickets when our captain has also scored runs in flat wickets, who by the way is having an average of 20 in Sena countries.
I think he has in a way revived himself with the 147, and
But he has to do more.
Yeah, and even he scored 147 on a day, I think, when the conditions were very slightly tricky. At least there was help for the new ball bowlers. The openers also found it a little tough, but then they also got going, Jaiswal and Rahul. And I think Shubman Gill coming in at number 4, he displayed his role to perfection, and that's what is expected out of him.
And Yashwant, I mean, you want to bring in the point. Have we lavished praise on Shubman Gill? That, oh, he's the greatest player ever? No. We have pointed out that his Sena record is bad. Every single time we have pointed out it is bad. But now he's your captain. If he doesn't do well, the brickbats will come his way. But he scored 147. He did something which he didn't do when he was playing. As a captain, he's at least got one Sena ton 100 now. So that is why I think, see, Harry Brook, whatever the wickets, we have just pointed out the fact that, okay, that tag of flat track conditions and batting in that, it will stick with him if he doesn't do well in Australia. Why? I'll tell you. Harry Brook, compare what he scored in those roads against Pakistan, but look at the last 2 tests in Multan in which it was spin friendly and he just couldn't lay bat to ball. Yeah. As simple as that. He scored runs in 4 tests in Pakistan on absolute highways, but then in the 2 tests, he just couldn't. New Zealand, okay, somewhere, I don't know how he's managed to do well in New Zealand, because considering there you get some movement early on. But then you look at here in England, you don't get seaming conditions, you get flat conditions. So that is where...
Usually when he comes out to bat at a time when conditions get better for batting. And in New Zealand, one thing that we have seen is that after the first couple of days, usually pitches tend to flat out. And that yes, could be, you know, one of the factors that can be considered when we see Harry Brook's runs in New Zealand conditions.
Correct. So it will remain with him if he doesn't do well in Australia. Yeah. And Gill, if he has to ensure he gets an average of 40 plus in the Sena countries, he has to be very consistent. One knock will not wash away all the other things which has been said about Shubman Gill. He needs to do well. He's aware of it. In the PC, if you hear him, he's quite clear cut. Like, okay, I know what I have to do. We won't wax lyrical. He's told us to judge the team after August 4th. Which is the one thing I liked about Shubman Gill. So, yep, that is the way we're looking at it. So, what do you think in this session, Gulati, before we wind up? What do you think?
I think England definitely crossing the 400 mark and losing just... Okay, I'll come to a final thing. 430 for 7. About 100 runs scored and 2 more wickets.
450 for 8. I'm thinking
very near. Yeah.
450 for 8. It could happen. It could be 9. Okay, 450 for 9.
I think 430 for 7. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think, but if I'm saying 9, I'll say 450 all out. 450 all out, because at the end of the day, see, you're getting the second new ball. So they are scoring quick runs, 123 runs. I'm saying they're adding on, but I think they'll be bowled out in the session. That's what I think. So hopefully India manage a lead of over 100. If that is the case, India firmly in the driver's seat. Less than 100, but about 75. Okay, slightly. Less than 75 or less than 50. It's equal. That's what I think. So yeah, I believe 450 for all out, and you're saying 430 for 7. Okay. Let's see how that pans out. The second new ball is going to be absolutely vital for India. They have to get wickets there. Hopefully Brook goes and the rest of the tail folds up to Jasprit Bumrah. Let's see how that pans out. So from me and Sid Gulati, it is bye-bye. See you soon, either for the innings break or for the tea break. No overs, no conditions have impacted, no rain so far. So hopefully 8-10. Otherwise, innings break. Bye-bye.